One day I should have everybody just
Can't be too careful, though, those weirdos out there.
Where's the Warner Brothers of the science?
Oh, gotta ask yourself, do I feel lucky?
Marvel Legends Gauntlet. That is Nano awesome. Gauntlet.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
That is... What's up, guys, and welcome to another Collectors Assemble Live here on Toy Quest 101. We got another good one for you guys today. I'm really excited, guys, because this person right here is one of the best human beings that I know. We'll talk about it in a little bit. He's not on yet because he is coming out of a con, so he will be on shortly. But man, do I have a great panel for you guys today. So we're going to go ahead and introduce them first, as always. So let's start with Mr. Kennedy. We got Mr. Kennedy in the building. And of course, we got some. Can we hear that? Can we hear it? Can we hear it? Ah. Yeah. There we go. All right. What's up, bro? Are you on mute? You're on mute.
Yeah, my allergies are acting up, so that's why I had to keep the mic off.
This guy, rookie.
It happens.
It's all good. Dude, thank you for being on. Appreciate you being on, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course, bro. Of course. Let's see who else we got here. We got Collector Joey.
Yo, what is up? How are you?
What's up, man? How are you?
How are y'all doing?
Good, bro. I'm happy you're here.
Yeah.
We got a good show going on today.
Yeah. Ready for this one. This is going to be a good one.
I know. I'm really excited.
Yes, sir.
I'm really excited. Let's see who else we got here. Oh, this is a good one, too. We got Andrew in the house. What's up, bro?
What's up?
Well,
I was going to put it on, but my big-ass head don't fit in this thing, so...
Hey, mine doesn't either. Don't worry. Mine does not either.
I got, you know, it's funny. I have the sideshow life-size bust upstairs of Mando, and that thing fits my head.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the Black Series ones are way too small.
Yeah.
Way too small.
Oh, yeah?
That's funny.
Damn.
All right. That's the artist in the building. John Carlson. What's up, man? All right, Kennedy.
Guys, good to be here.
Oh, you were going to introduce him, Kennedy. What happened?
Oh. I just had a little break today. You sure?
Thank you. I mean,
I could do it.
that.
I could add some. I could, add some more adjectives to get.
You don't need to.
You sure about
It's
that?
fine. I'm sure. It's good. We're good. We're good where we're at.
Real quick, let me introduce this guy real quick. I'll take the copyright for this one. Hold on. We got Aaron in the What's up, Aaron? He don't even know that song. He has no idea what that is. You ever heard that song?
That song is prehistoric, man. Come on.
Oh,
wow. That's right,
Give it to
Aaron.
this kid. He got
Give it right back to him. That's right, Aaron.
Stop it.
That's good, yeah.
All right, and we got my special guest here. One of my favorites, man, from Sideshow. My man, look at that mane. Look at the
icon.
mane. The icon, the legend.
Hey,
Harry Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. What's up, man? How are you today?
I'm great, man. I've had a really busy day. I actually think I can tell you what I was working on. I was working on the first look for the Hono Wolverine 6-scale figure. Yeah, which that dropped a while ago. Got the figure a little bit late. I'm pretty stacked up here. If you're following the release schedule of Hot Toys when they drop photos and everything, basically every one of those figures they've dropped this week I have here waiting to have a video shot. So but I'm backed up. So like one today, one tomorrow. Yeah, it's been a busy day, and I legitimately wrapped it up right before I logged in with you guys, but still have to edit it.
Oh, I know the feeling. Trust me. But I did order that Wolverine. I think it's a good one.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really impressed with it. I think it's going to be really popular. It's I didn't expect a lot going into it, but yeah, my expectations were blown away.
Dude, I think it's neat. The whole comic book in the back thing did it for me too. I think that's a lot different, right? Yeah. So I thought that was really cool, but I'm excited to see it, man.
Spoiler alert, the first comic book that I showcase in that video had recently sold online. The record sale for it is $17,000.
17. Wait, you own it?
I have it.
It's not the Hulk 181, is it?
No, it's Wolverine #1
Wolverine #1
from back in 1988.
from the four run issue.
No.
No.
The ongoing series after the 4-issue. I do have the 4-issue series too, though. I just couldn't find it. I looked so hard, but it's a jungle down in the basement.
I'm excited. That's good. That sold for 17 grand.
It was a 10. It was slabbed at a 10 from what do you call it?
An actual 10? That's
rare.
Rare.
Yeah, they actually, I remember when I was reading about it, they said they think it's one of a kind. They don't think there's another 10 in the world. So
9.8 is usually like considered a 10 because nothing ever actually is a 10. Yeah. So wow, that's crazy.
Exactly. But yeah, more than 17 grand for the probably only 10 in the world.
Yeah, really.
Wow. I'd probably get like 500 for mine, but whatever. 500, whatever.
Dude, that's cool though. I'm excited for that. And you said it's gonna drop soon, hopefully.
The Wolverine.
Yeah, for your.
They already dropped the photos several days ago.
Yeah, we've seen the photos.
The video probably won't be uploaded until Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, you've probably seen the guys have been really busy there at Sideshow doing a lot of live streams and a lot of other stuff. So their schedule's pretty packed. My schedule's pretty packed. But we'll get it up. It'll be there.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm really excited for that Wolverine. Did anybody else order that? Joey, did you order that?
I didn't get it. No.
Am I the only one? I think from our group. I think I'm the only one who ordered it. Wolverine's my favorite. So, let's see. Let's head over to the chats and see who we got here real quick. We got Mr. Lane Kramer in the building.
Hey, Lane.
What's up, Lane? We gotta ask him that question.
Yeah.
For show. We have Calvin on as well. Absolutely hate that I had to miss joining tonight's panel, fellas. This is one of the books right here. Now back to the wedding. Oh, he's in a wedding. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Rock City. What's up, Mike? My guy. We got Austin in the building as well. Hey, are you? Well, never mind. I'm not gonna ask that. I don't want you guys to get in trouble. Collector Joey doing double duty. We got Steve. We got
Steve.
Mike
Up,
in the building. I love Steve. Steve's
Mike
awesome.
Games is here. Wow.
Yeah. What's up,
a
dude?
lot of familiar faces.
And for you guys who don't know, obviously Terry has a show Saturday mornings, which I tend to catch all the time. I love it.
Thanks, man.
He gets to fight with the chats. You got to slow the chats down so you can catch up to them.
Dude, it's hard. It's running a live stream by yourself is not easy.
No, it's
and trying to stay on top of every comment too. That's probably where I'm going wrong. But
for sure,
I could use a moderator.
I know.
I'm accepting volunteers.
Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second.
Look who just jumped in. Aaron, volunteer. Help your guy out.
Just like that.
Perfect timing.
So it seems like Miguel is in contact with somebody who's trying to join. So yeah, that's fun. What have you guys gotten anything new lately? I mean, I've got Mace Windu on the way finally. So
nice.
I just got my order from Iron Studios today because I took advantage of their sale.
Oh, yeah.
I got
nice.
Four Unleashed, Forge, and Warpath.
Nice.
So,
Still waiting on my stuff to ship out, I think.
Me too.
Are you talking to Mr. Kennedy? Are you talking about the 10th scale stuff?
Yeah.
Dude, I wish I'd gotten on board with that at when it started because I mean, I don't know if you can see it right now, but I've got a whole lot of Sideshow PFs over here.
Yeah.
And they're amazing.
Got the Nightcrawler
they're amazing,
in the back, I see.
No, I didn't get Nightcrawler. I wound up having to cancel them. I recently had to buy a car and all kinds of other crazy stuff, all sorts of expenses added. So I don't have the money for collecting that I had like even 6 months ago. So
okay, I'm looking at it closer now. It's Gambit.
Yeah.
It looked like
Gambit's
okay.
What do we got? We
That's
got
cool.
Gambit. We got Gambit, Export Psylocke, Colossus, Magneto, Storm, Rogue, Wolverine, Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Emma Frost.
Ooh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, look at that mane, bro. Look at that
over there.
hair, son.
Let me just see that. There we go. You can get a better glimpse of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
This looks like one of his thumbnails right here. If I snap a picture,
Like a pose.
it's just like it's freaking great, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
so I was just on the phone with Tate. He's trying to jump on, guys, so just bear with him.
That's what I suspected.
Dude, I like he's such a nice guy that he wouldn't refuse to like. I try to get him to do it another day because he's busy at a con. And he's like, no, we're gonna do it today. I was like, okay. So he's just trying to figure that out. But he'll be on shortly.
He strikes me as a pro, so that doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah, dude, he's just always so busy. Like the couple times that I talk to him, he's flying somewhere or doing something, and he's like always like on the grind, which I appreciate. That's pretty cool.
He was at a con I went to a couple months ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, up in Jacksonville. He was at Collective Con, I think is what it was. I just I didn't have the funds to do him and everybody else I was trying to do. I had to kind of scale back a little bit. So I saw him, but I didn't get to speak to him or anything.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's cool. I got to meet him, man. He's one of those guys who I haven't met yet either. Steve.
Steve. I don't know if you guys caught it, but he had a great appearance on the Katie Sackhoff show recently.
Yes.
Really?
It was 2 hours.
It's a long one, but it's worth your time if you're at all a fan of Tait, if you're a fan of Katie. But it's everything they talk about is worth listening to. They discuss things like traumatic brain injury. For I think they talk about that at length, which was very personal to me, having just suffered one 6 months ago. But yeah, it's great. It's he's really articulate, really interesting cat just to listen to him talk. So
he knows so much about everything too. Like it's not like he's a one-trick pony. Like he's very like into just everything. He digests everything differently. You know what I mean? Like if he's gonna be on a project or doing something or wants to learn about something, he's completely invested in it. So that's why I think he's first of all, a great person to talk to. I mean, he should have his own podcast, to be honest with you. And then with Katie, I mean, she does a phenomenal job too. But apparently, that was her last video one.
It was.
I think she's still going to be doing the voice, like the audio ones. But I mean, it's probably because she's busy and stuff, and it's probably easier for her to do the other way. But she's really good too, man.
It may also have something to do with the fact that it's very difficult to actually make money on YouTube.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just not worth the time to actually do the video portion of it. That's probably just a lot more profitable to stick with just the audio podcasts. But then I don't
there's a lot of these that if they're not getting picked up by these like channels that are handling them now, like with all these different celebrities that have them going on and handling both the video and audio side of things, that they just don't get the same kind of push. They don't see the same kind of revenue stream and things like that if they don't have that, like, producing team behind them, backing them up.
Yeah, and it's like visually it was really good too. Like it was the set was nice, everything was great about it, but it was a pretty long video, but I enjoyed it. I watched the whole thing. By the time I got done, I was like, oh wow, this was 2 hours of my life.
I had it playing in the background while I was working on a video. So
I imagine traveling, if you're going around or trying to get people to you, to just set up a couple of microphones is a lot less of a hassle than all that comes with video, which is a whole lot more work.
That, or she could look into do what we do, just like live stream from your own place and use StreamYard type of thing. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
That is an option.
That is an option. I'm sure she's making money doing other things though.
Oh, for sure. She stays busy. She stays busy, man.
Oh, look who we got here.
Hey.
He's there.
That's right.
Never heard of him. It's
funny.
Yeah. Hey,
I
Paul.
love Paul. What's up, dude? We got Commander Green in the building. What's up, dude?
Harold? Is it good to see you here?
He's the man, dude. I love him too. A lot of good guys in the community. Oh, Paul calling us nerds. This guy. Oh man, guys. All right, so our guest is here. I see him with that phenomenal beard, man. Just give me. I know
Dude gives me beard envy.
He's backstage, so
does he put Mario to shame?
Dude, what? His beard's on point, and it's shorter than what it was before. But listen, before I put him on, because he's backstage, I know you guys can't see him. I do want to say this, right? So there's very few times in my life, and I always say that I have multiple lives, right? Because a lot of my lives don't cross over. What I mean by that, I have my YouTube side, right, which is like the dad that does the unboxing and reviews and YouTube content creator, right? And then there's my real life where I'm heavily involved in mixed martial arts. I travel for refereeing for ADCC, and a lot of those people don't know what I do across from another, right? So it's very rare that these two timelines cross for me. And today it does. So I'm super excited. I'm going to apologize if I start geeking out about the certain things from mixed martial arts and stuff. But my point I'm trying to get is just like this hobby, right? There's like a brotherhood, right? When it comes to, jujitsu and mixed martial arts and stuff. And, when you're doing it so long, you get to see all these people and train with them, whether you were competing against them or whether you're doing seminars. Eventually you meet people down the road, whether, they're super famous or, high level or low level, it doesn't matter. But Tait was one of those who I always knew, but I never got to meet him. And everybody around me knew who he was or interacted with him at some point. And there's always been rumblings about him. And what I mean by that is the type of human that he is. So he's helped gyms when there was economic crisis or say the pandemic, just giving them money to survive. And he doesn't talk a lot about that, but these are things that you hear throughout the jiu-jitsu community and through the gym community of him doing. You hear him doing things like, helping people who are overcoming, mental illness and things like. He's just, as a human being, he is the man. He's a huge mixed martial artist, which we're going to talk about. But like I said, I'm super excited, guys. Let me look at his screen name. Oh, man. Here he is, guys. Tait Fletcher. What's up, man?
Right. What's going on?
Good to be here. Sorry,
Can you hear us?
I really apologize. I hate being tardy.
No, dude. Nothing to apologize for, bro. This is a laid-back show, man. But I'm really excited for you to be here, man. Look at that. What you got? A G.I. Joe shirt or a Jedi shirt? Hold on. Let me see.
A G.I. Jedi?
Oh,
Jedi Joe.
Let's go.
Put this up today, man.
Nice. So how's the con been?
It's cool, man. It's light right now, but it's a weekday, and I think it'll be dope tomorrow. It's like these guys too. They own this toy store out here in Allen, Texas. And they're like, we want to put this thing together. And we want to have all these names from the Star Wars community here and come out. And so it's their first time doing it. So we're just kind of kicking it off and trying to build steam for them too. And it's cool, man, because it's like every time I come to one of these, it's like old home week. I get to see Brendan Wayne and Ahmed Best and all these guys that, some I work with and some I just meet through cons. So it's been dope, man. Brendan's here with his daughter, and he plays Mando. And she lent me a computer to use because I messed up and I left mine at the house. And then I can't download Chrome. So I'm back to my phone anyway. But I'm just glad to be here, man. It's all right. You won't be the first or the last. We had Wolverine Caldad on, and we had to walk him out of download Chrome and all that stuff. But listen, this gets the job done. I was doing all that shit, and I was like, okay, I'm either gonna be really late or else I just jump on the phone right now. So. Nah, you're good, man. You're good. Listen, we really appreciate you being on. And like I mentioned earlier, man, for me, this is the first time my lives are kind of crossing, right? Because like I said before, I've heard so much about you in the jiu-jitsu community and the MMA community and stuff. And that's kind of where I want to start. I want to kind of start from the beginning, right? Your whole journey into mixed martial arts, into MMA. I know there was a couple of, you were in season 3 of The Ultimate Fighter, which had, Michael Bisping, it had Tito Ortiz, it had a bunch of great people. What'd you say? And Kendall Grove was on there. Kendall Grove, yeah, there were so many people in there. But talk to us about how you started in mixed martial arts and what made you get into it. Well, there was an inkling I had when I was in my 20s, I guess, and I thought you ought to be proficient at being a valuable citizen, and part of that is you ought to be able to take care of yourself. Yeah. I ran into this guy. I'm from Michigan originally, and I went out to I got a scholarship to this school. There was a great books program. It was Western literature based. From the beginning, you studied Ptolemy and Euclid, and it started at the base of Western civilization, kind of grew mathematics and philosophy and shit from there. And that's what originally took me to New Mexico. When I was there, I met this guy named Arlen Sanford, and Arlen was a stick fighter from Krabi Kabrong style. And Krabi Kabrong is a Thai martial art, double stick style. And he met with a guy named Eric Knaus. And Eric was a dude that studied like Kali and Eskrima and different things. And so Eric and Arlen in the early 90s, they got into, there's that hot sexy. they got into a fight at an international stick fighting convention, and they're all heavily armored. And they wanted to know, hey, what is it like to fight with no armor on, and what would that look like? That's Scott Smith right there. That was for a WEC title. Anyways, what would it be like to fight without armor? And so afterwards, they took first and second, and they smashed each other over the weekend for the rest of the days that Arlen was there. And they wanted to find out the efficacy of their art. Is it bullshit or not? Because everybody was like onto that, no disrespect to Kung Fu, but onto that thing of like, hey, if my teacher touched you, he'd kill you. That's why he's not in the UFC or whatever. And so these guys were on an exploration of themselves of going, like, what's really true about this? Because after the generations pass, if you're tilling a field or something, you're a farmer and you're not in wartime, you pass your arts down to your son, but it becomes more flowery and beautiful and less martial. And so they're like, let's instill power into this again, and let's see what happens. And so I started training with him, and he started training me because I was interested, and he wanted somebody to fight with a stick, and it's not easy to talk people into fighting with sticks.
Right.
And so that's where I began. And then, I don't know, I fought hundreds of fights, stick fights, and me and my roommate, we'd fight each other all the time in the backyard getting ready. I fought for 40 days before I went to my first gathering. And I fought a dude named Dogzilla, and it was dope. And I'd seen this guy on tape. I'd seen him run over dudes, and he goes,
was he a football player?
He used to play football. He was a Marine Corps football player.
Yeah, the Marine guy. Yep.
Wow.
A screw in the state pen in Hawaii. So he was a correctional facilities guard afterwards, and he was a monster of a dude. And like I said, I'd seen him. And so like you see somebody in action, you feel a certain way about that. And Arlen goes, hey, this would be a great fight for you. Mike Tibbetts was his name. He goes, this is Tait. And he goes, well, who's he train with? He goes, well, he trains with me. He goes, I don't want to fight him. Thing is that Mark Denny is the third guy that started the Dog Brothers, and he trained a lot of guys, and he's real flowery, and he's really like into the palaver of it all. And Arlen was into the action of it all. And he goes, I want to teach you to lead with power. And so he'd have me swinging axe sticks or axe handles and stuff and lead pipes at bags and try to increase power and force, and how quickly can you generate that force. And so I fought Mike anyway that day. He was like, because Arlen was like, well, he's only been training for 40 days. And he said, okay, reluctantly he agreed. And I was like, wow, Arlen's got a lot of weight behind his name, And so that's how it began for me. And then when guys crashed, they found out the Machados were big. A couple of them had trained with some of the guys, and they found that when you crashed, if you didn't know what you were doing on the ground, you were like a child. And so that really got me interested in jiu-jitsu. And about that same time, Alberto Crane came moving back from Brazil. I'd met Amal Easton already, and Amal is a Renzo Gracie black belt. And I'd seen the power of jiu-jitsu because both those guys were radically smaller than me. And Amal, I remember he had me in an arm bar out of the guard, and he's stretching me out. And I don't even know I'm in danger. That's how dumb I am at the time, right? I don't even know this is a bet. And he's going, hey, Tait, your arm's straight right now. And I didn't even I wasn't comprehending what that meant. I'm trying to muscle out and stuff. And I go, oh. And then when I met Alberto, who was even smaller than him, he came back as a brown belt, and he's also from Santa Fe. And he maybe armbarred me 5 times in like a minute. And I go, God. And at that time, you can do 2 things if you're a guy. You go, this is gay. You're on the ground. You can either do that, or you can go, this is fascinating. I got to know more. And I just dove into jiu-jitsu with both feet. And now you're a double black belt, right? Yeah. Wow. That was a long time ago. I think that was in, I want to say 98, 99, 98 probably. I met Alberto. And so I just trained, helped him build a school in New Mexico. And then now he's got a couple schools in called Legacy out in LA. And he was a guy, I went to purple belt with him. And then I moved out. I was working on a movie with my girlfriend The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. And so Maurice Smith was there training Bob Sapp, and Ivan Salivary was there. And so I'd mess with those guys. And you know, Bob, I met Joey Diaz on that movie in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
I love Joey Diaz, bro.
The whole Ready to Die album, start to finish, a cappella, just sitting at you know, with Tracy's there and like Sandler's there, and he's just going from start to finish. And I thought, this motherfucker's going to die right in front of me. Because, dude, he's breathless. He's he does. And we're at 7,000 feet, and it's 95 degrees.
Yeah.
And so I'm just getting him chlorophyll and water all the time. Like, and that's the first time I met Joey. And so then that led me, you know, when we moved the show to L.A., it led me to working out with Ivan. He's like, yeah, we're going over to Eddie Bravo's school. And I was like, oh, I'd heard of this, 10th Planet, right? And he just started. He just moved, you know, he just beat Hoyler. And I just knew he was a John Jock black belt. And I'd met him years before at a Grappler's Quest, just in passing.
Wow, Grappler's Quest. Oh, my God. Jeez.
Right?
Bro.
Durango High School, right? Back
Yeah.
then. And so, and that's where, I mean, I met a bunch of dudes there. I mean, I like fought Marvin Eastman there. Chuck Liddell, I seen even compete there. Like, it's crazy back then. JB Penn, BJ Penn, everybody was there. Mike Fowler. It was like, you know, back in the day. And so anyway, and that's where I met the Tapo guys. They're slinging shirts out of their truck at that time.
Yeah, that was back when they were like up there, the rise.
Yeah, man. You never felt more proud than when you put on a shirt. You're like, I'm sponsored. You got a free T-shirt.
Yeah.
You know?
So just to give people a perspective, guys. So when he was talking, like this stick fighting thing is literally, it's literally what it is. You're that out there with like a stick and hitting each other. It's not like fencing or anything like that. Like
when you say
beautiful.
stick, are we talking stabs? Are we talking collie sticks?
33, 34 inch rattan stick. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, they're hard.
Fight anybody. Like Arlen fought a dude with a chain, with a bat, with a bullwhip. You know,
it's Mad Max.
It sounds crazy, but it's super easy. And I mean, it's like any wrestler looks at a guy with a bat. You get one swing. You can't rechamber that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a stick is fast enough that I can rechamber it for multiple strikes. A bullwhip, you got one strike, and then I run in on you. It's over. And so we'd mess around with that, and with guys with stabs, etc. And so you just have to, you know, what it taught me was how to gauge distance in combat. And so that was what an exciting time. That was dope back then. And so, but then I had to choose, you know, because the first thing I attack is your hand, and your knuckles swell up because that's the first thing that comes towards somebody holding the stick. And so I couldn't grab a gi. I couldn't make grips at all if my knuckles were swollen. And I was competing all the time, all the Pan Ams, the Mundials, all that. I was into a Grappler's Quest, of course. And so then anyways, I start training with Eddie Bravo, and Eddie opened my eyes to a whole nother system. It was like somebody took the walls off of jiu-jitsu, and I just go, wow.
10th Planet, baby. Shout out to Eddie and the crew. I love Eddie.
For sure. And to see how that's evolved now, I mean, like in this picture, my boy Ruben and Nate there, and they both black belts now and got schools of their own. But, you know, you look at Boogie and Gio and these guys that are carrying the torch, it's just incredible.
Yeah, I see them all the time, bro. All the time. Every month I see them.
Yeah. I see them all go, like, you know, to Craig Jones now, and like that whole deal, like,
oh, the CGI thing. Yeah, we're at war with them. We're at war.
That's kind of the background of it, what got me into it all. And then when fights started happening, you know, it was the black days of the UFC. Right now, you know, everybody's like, oh, you get to watch fights all the time or whatever. Well, fuck, back then SEG had gone bankrupt. So there is no UFC because, you know, Budweiser was a huge thing about putting a black eye on the sport and saying it's human cockfighting, it should be outlawed and all this kind of stuff. And it was a real upswing. I remember back in the day, they tried to do a story with the LA Times. The LA Times says, that's not a sport. We're not going to cover that. And so you just watch Dana push like a man that had a mission. And he pushed and pushed and pushed when everybody said no. Everybody looks at it now and they're like, oh, that's it. What an easy thing. But man, him and the Fertitta brothers, they made a thing happen that was not there before. And when they bought the UFC, they didn't really have any traction until he started a deal. You know, you think about these things as startup companies, right? Like Spike TV was a startup company. It just happened to be on TV. And so they needed programming. And so they're like, yeah, we'll throw the dice with this wild, crazy fight show. And then I hear my teammate, Diego Sanchez, is going to go on TV. And what is this thing, you know? And we all started looking into it and watching it. But up until then, we're all just fighting on Indian reservations.
Yeah.
That's the only place you can have fights, right? And so we're in New Mexico, Arizona. We fight up in Denver sometimes. And that was the way of it back then, was just regional fights. And you're trying to get enough fights to where you can stay active, but it's almost impossible. And so that was the day back then. And then Dana changed all that with Ultimate Fighter.
And you were on season 3, and there's a picture here of season 3. And for those who don't know, I mean, you got some like Ken Shamrock, obviously UFC legend. He was in the WWE. You got Tito Ortiz, which is, you know, if you think UFC, you're gonna think his name first. And you got all these guys in the back, and for the most part, most of them are either, you know, superstars or had a really good run. And there's so many people in this picture that are really. Michael Bisping is one of them too. Like, I mean, there's so many people in here. And like he was mentioning, Eddie Bravo is just, you know, awesome guy. Look at this stud. Look at this. Look at it. And yeah, man. So you got into the UFC, and then from there, you had your run. At what point did you say, I'm gonna get into stunt work now? Like where was that transition?
You know, the first place that got doubt in me when I was there, I turned 35 years old when I was in the UFC, right?
Yeah.
And everybody else is, you know, I mean, in a different part of their life than me.
Yeah.
I go, the only people that are here that last are the ring girls and Herb Dean, right? It's like
Ring girls and Herb Dean.
Oh, Herb Dean.
Look at like a career of a guy, of a journeyman fighter, and it's like 16 months or something like that is the stretch of it, you know, except for these guys that are really exceptional. And in that light, I go, it just changed the way I started thinking, because I go, what's next? You age out of this, and then what? And what does that look like for a guy that stays too long? And we, you know, we see it all the time, especially when money started coming in. When McGregor came in and it changed money for people, you know, you get Anderson and BJ and everybody going, George St. Pierre, maybe I'm going to do this again, you know, and where it goes. But it's like, it's just like when it's too late, when you take the fire off for a little bit, man, that motherfucker is over. And if you're a quarter second behind, that's way too late.
Yeah.
And you've had the damage that comes is just, it talks to you in a way that you can't hear. And so you're a little slower. You're making a little bit less judgment calls that are not efficacious for where you're going. And so I started thinking, then I took a few fights after that still. And then a guy walked in my gym. I'd started a gym at that time. The gym was like, you know, back in the day, if you want to box, you got to go to a boxing gym. You got to go and find a bunch of badass Mexicans and learn to box. You want to wrestle, you got to go to the local high school or college and wrestle with dudes. You want to do jiu-jitsu, you got to find another membership for that. You want to lift weights, you got to find another membership for that. Nobody can afford that, right? And so I'm looking at that as a young athlete too, and I was like, I want to make something that wasn't there for me. And so I started Undisputed Fitness, which was like a multi-modality. It was kickboxing, it was jiu-jitsu, and it was a CrossFit and strongman gym. And I'm the one teaching all the classes, and I'm a horrible businessman, you know, because if you love jiu-jitsu, I want you to have jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu saved my life in so many fucking ways. And so I just, you know, guys that come in and guys that go to the bar 3-4 nights a week, you know, spending $100 a week at the bar, they're like, I can't afford the $100 to come to the gym, man. You know, and I just want to take out the obstacles for you. And so I'm like, just come, man, just come and we'll figure it out. And so I'm doing that, and I'm doing bodyguard work on the side and trying to keep the doors open. And while I'm trying to get guys trained up so guys can even train beginners classes or whatever. And so that all kind of happens for the next few years. And a guy walks in my gym that was a X Games athlete named Darren Prescott. And he was there filming a movie, and I didn't really know that. but I'd been in a movie before because I used to run a nightclub. I ran the security for this nightclub, and one day Master P and his boys walk in, and
oh shit, Master P, the rapper, right?
For you junior, yeah, that's P and no rapper.
Wow.
Put some respect on my name.
Like the reason you know Lil Wayne is because of him, right?
Yeah.
The reason you know Snoop Dogg is because he saved Snoop Dogg after the debacle with Death Row.
Death Row, yep.
Put money in his pocket and put records under his name again and got him moving again. And so he's a dude that's helped the culture and helped all that in such a huge way. And he's just a quiet dude that's just plucking his millions and doing good things for whoever sees him. But he come into our club and says, we need some big white boys for this prison film we're doing. And I go, okay. And so me and a couple of my homeboys go out and we try out for it. He says, bet these 3 guys or whatever. And so that's where I got a SAG card, right? And that's like in, I don't know, 2000. And I go, man, this was a blast. You know, I made a grip of money in a month. And the guy that was the stunt coordinator, he goes, dude, you ought to come out. I got a guest house. Just come stay with me in Woodland Hills. And there's so much work right now, and you move great. And I go, dude, I'm just a kid from Michigan trying to do this wrestling thing, and fucking good luck to you. Like, I'm going to be in movies, right? And I just shined it on, and I go, I'm doing this other thing, you know? And so I just ran after fights, you know, and I'm working in the nightclub, paying my bills so I can train in the daytime. And that's kind of how it looked for, I don't know, 9 years or something. Then, you know, when I take my last fight and I'm just training jiu-jitsu and I'm just giving back to these kids, Darren walks in and he goes, hey man, I'm doing, and he loved jiu-jitsu. He fell in love with it, right? He was one like me that was like, I got to find out more about this, because he was a real athlete, you know? And he says, dude, I'm doing this little movie called Paul about an alien going across the desert. He goes, I got a fight scene in it. I got a couple places if you want to fit in there.
I remember that one, yeah.
I did too, yeah.
I go, cool. Yeah, they're in a Winnebago, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, all right. And so I did that for a little bit. And I go, wow, this is cool. I go, this is a real job. I was like, wild, you know? And
I sympathize.
He goes, yeah. Hey, he calls me like a month later, and I'm doing whatever I can to hustle to keep the doors open at the gym. You know, and I got guys that are, you know, now if I go to a gym, dude, it's, you know, ain't nobody want me to pay to go to their gym. I won't let you not fucking take my money. It's such a privilege to be able to pay money to go into a fucking drop class. And I feel that way because, like, back then there were dudes that were fucking purple belts and fucking scrubs that were like, when I go, hey man, you've been here like 20 times. You mind kicking in and buying a membership, you know, just so we can keep the lights on? They'd be so offended that they'd just bounce. And I was like, wow. and they're like hurt by it. And I'm like, you ain't never did shit. You never even competed. And I'm just, I got to keep the lights on all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, anyways. And so that kind of thing, like, it just kind of changed. I start seeing how people move and shit. And I was like, okay. And so I'm still doing bodyguard work. And then he calls me, he goes, you want to go to Detroit and do Red Dawn? And I was like, dude, that would be sick. And I said, I'm from Michigan. That'd be awesome. It's like going home. So I went and I did that. And then I'm just hustling movies. And he says, dude, and it was after the fall of the the housing crisis and all that. He says, don't quit anything you're doing, man. He says, you need to make money. And this industry, it's like everybody's suffering right now. And I go, all right. I go, I don't know how else to do it, though, except, you know, you throw your hat over the fence and then you got to go get it, right? And I just go all in. And so any extra money I'd have, I'd fly to, whatever state I needed to. Oh, there's a coordinator there working on Mission Impossible or Jack Reacher. I'm going to fly there just to give him my resume, shake his hand, and tell him who I am. And he goes, what are you doing here? Why are you in Philadelphia? I said, I just come to meet you. And he goes, all right. And I go, yeah, just keep me in mind if anything happens, you know. And that's how I started to work my hustle. I worked a hard fucking hustle.
Yeah.
So I would just go do that. And then I got a call to go to Boston and I get this job on the Equalizer, and I was like, cool, man. And I go there, and the same guy that had asked me to live in his house way back in 2000 with Master P, he's the dude running that show for Antoine Fuqua. And I go, bro, you don't know who you are to me, do you? And he goes, well, I know you're Tait Fletcher. And I go, man, I said, you're the one that gave me my first job. Like, I got a SAG card because of you. And his name's Keith Willard, and I've been, good friends with him since. But that's what really got me rolling, you know. And then people are like, wow, dude, he, you know, it's because like every job you have is like your business card, and it's the next thing that gets you to the next place. And so it was what a privilege to work with a legend like that too. So anyway, that's kind of how I got into film, was through fights. And so, you know, everybody's like, how do you course your life or whatever? And I go, I think, you know, at one point when I was just broken, and you know, I've been locked up on a fucking a charge I ended up beating, but it was like, I was, you know, and when you're in 5-point restraints, looking at your mouth through glass, you know, you're like, fuck, is this life? Is this, so you're on welfare, you're going to be in the Fed for like, what happens, man? And when I got free, I was just like, I got to move my feet different. And I go, and I don't know what that is, you know. I'm uneducated. I don't have, you know, I'm working at a coffee bar and in a recovery house for kids that are on their way to prison if they fuck up. And I go, this ain't much of a life. And I just started searching my soul, and I'd started meditating a bunch, and you know, and I had been since, you know, since I was locked up. You know, I'd have to do something to try to discipline my mind and get free. And all I heard was like, the universe would prefer if you were happy. Would prefer if you were at ease and you were useful to people.
Yeah.
And so I just started doing shit to make, you know, and that's what really led me into the fights, you know, is that I go, I want to become competent. I want to become useful to my community. If something goes bad, it's your responsibility to know how to fucking handle yourself.
Yeah.
You should know that. You should be a master of your physicality. It's the number one thing you can do. And outside of that, then I start looking at it and I go, you should be a master of your own spirituality, of your own intellect. You should be able to hold an emotional container so that you're not leaky and fucking whiny and throw tantrum. Like it's you've got to be in control of yourself in that way. And so I just started looking to do that. And fights for me was a huge way of doing that, of how to discipline yourself and work regardless, right? Regardless of broken toes, broken ribs, how you feel.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, what's contrary action? I'd rather do this. Well, that feels like comfort. You should go the other way. Well, this worries me. Well, that means you should go into it. You know, I let the fear direct me. Let the discomfort direct me. And there's only two choices in that. You can either go away from it or you can go through it.
Yep.
And so that's kind of that's kind of where, you know, I'm like I said, it saved my life. I'm so grateful to it. And then outside of that, you know, I start playing these characters because I'm 6'4", 250, and it's like even if we're all in balaclavas and there's me and a bunch of security guards, it looks like a gorilla, and then you know, so it's like, so I'm getting these jobs that are like,
bro. Look at this. So real quick, I just gotta say, man, and you know, Titus Sullivan was on the show not too long ago, and I told him the same thing, but I think you beat him for this one. You have the coolest like fight and death scenes of anybody. Like if I ever, one of my dreams is to just kill me off in one movie with one of these guys. I mean, you got like, for example, we got The Rock. You were with Chris Pratt. You were on Power. Denzel Washington. I mean, you name the who's who. Ben Affleck. Breaking Bad.
Keanu Reeves.
John Wick. I mean, like who? John Claude Van Damme. I mean, like. Jeez, you got like all these people that like the who's who of the celebrity world, and you get to fight them or get killed off by them. And you know, I mentioned you coming onto the show on last week's show that we just had a chill show, and one of the guys asked if there was only one that you could work with out of all the high end celebrities that you got to work with, who would it be? So you would have to eliminate everybody else, so just one guy.
Man, you know, there's some guys, you know, like when you fight somebody, you compete with somebody and they're fucking a lot better than you.
Yes.
And after you compete against that person, if you give your all, like that's what the requisite is. You got to give your all. If you peel it and you're just trying to not lose, you don't get the same rub. But if you don't. All, there's nobody in your school that can touch you anymore. You get to a different level, right? And that's what working with some of these guys is like, and Denzel is one of those guys for sure. And you know, the other guy, just to watch his behaviors and shit, was Mel Gibson. I got to do just one day with him, and
that's right.
And it would be dope to. I mean, he's incredible, really incredible. Him and Denzel. I mean, there's nobody better than Denzel. I don't think.
That's awesome.
Speak on that same train of thought. All right, so we talked about the guys who you have worked with.
Yeah.
Living or dead, is there anyone who you're like, oh man, a fight scene, whatever it is, I would just like to get, not get in the ring, so to say, but get to work with this person, and why is it Bruce Lee?
Why is it Bruce Lee?
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's great.
The cool thing, and like you dig this, like as a martial artist, as like a jiu-jitsu arrow, is like there's, when you were talking earlier when I was in the waiting room or whatever, it's like the jiu-jitsu mafia, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like we are woven in a way that is very special. In my life, the connection, I could have never guessed how powerful that would be decades later, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Scotty Nelson at OTM, which some guys will know is On the Mat, and he was one of the first guys that did Built to Fight. He did Dengue Fever and shit. These videos where him and Gumby would go down to Brazil and film. They're the first Americans really to go down there and document the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. And they were doing stuff back in the day when they would upload things, or they would send videotapes out, and you'd send envelopes of cash to them through the mail. I mean, it was like in the different world. Anyway, Scotty and Ed Clay owned Gameness, which then got jacked by some Brazilians.
Yeah, to say that got messed up.
but he had one of the premier fight schools out of Nashville, and then those guys, one of their moms got sick, and he wanted to help her. And so he buys a Gershon Juice hospital. There was like a cancer remediation hospital down in Tijuana called Chipsa Hospital. And they treat cancer patients there now. And now they also treat head injury patients. And they're one of the biggest stem cell providers now. They're in partnership with the UFC. It just happened a little while ago. But the where that has come up, man, is those guys helped save my life with stem cells and hyperbarics. I'd had a real concussed existence, from police to fights. I mean, most of it self-inflicted, right? But I don't, the thing about head injuries, I remember I was sitting and I was watching, and Sam Morgan was a guy, I think he was out of Minnesota, and he was in one of either the first or second Ultimate Fighter. And I remember sitting cage side with Rogan, and he got starched, and he was out for 7 or 8 minutes. And to see somebody, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, wow.
And blood out his ears and his, and you don't know what's happening. I mean, they're just dark. It's like you're beholding death. And I remember Joe after that. He goes, it's wild. He goes, a lot of the real damage from head injuries we don't see for 10 or 15 years later.
Oh, later, yeah.
I go, how? Anyways,
that worries me.
Yeah, I get hurt on this movie Free Guy. And I get wrapped for like 5-6 minutes. I'm out, and after that I got what they call post-concussive syndrome, which is just a real dark place to be. And I'm there for a few years afterwards. Right on the edge of suicide. Like you become something that's not yourself anymore, that you can't recognize, and you just feel like this is how it's going to be, and I got to go. And that's kind of the end stage of brain injuries, right? And I'd said something like that to a friend of mine, and then that rang a bell, and a couple guys hit me up, and then 10 minutes later I'm talking to Shane Dorian, who's at a brain treatment center where they shoot magnets in your head, MERT therapy they call it. And,
yeah.
I was there 2 days later and getting treated, and I just started getting the idea that maybe I could save my own life, maybe I could get help with that. And then Scotty and Ed picked me up, and they helped me immensely with that. And to this day, it's like that thing about falling in love with the thing that you want to do with your life. It's like, it's just never let me down. And then the people that I've gotten to meet, you ask about these guys that I've gotten to work with. It's like, it's because I've gotten to meet the best people I've ever met in my life. Mm-hmm. I basically, when I got free, I turned my life over into going, where can I be helpful to guys coming behind me? Where can I be useful to help guys? And when I did that, man, it's like the universe supported me in a way that I couldn't have fucking imagined. And it's like I get put in all these positions. I never, I used to think, if you had the right agent or something in film, when you get into film, you're like, if I had the right blah 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 blah, and nobody will talk to you. Everybody's very arrogant and shitty in that world. And but the fucking stunt coordinators, I mean, they're the reasons that I got all them jobs. There's never an agent that helped me. It's all those guys, and they put me in all these positions that are insane. Like to play Paz Vizsla, which is why I'm here at the Star Wars thing. I'm in Star Wars, man. That doesn't make sense to me from where I come from. Right?
That's huge.
I'm also getting mad Kratos vibes from you. I think you would be a good Kratos.
Yo.
Oh shit.
Yes. We're gonna talk about that later. We're gonna talk about that later because I actually said the same thing to myself. But so I want to real quick before we get into the Star Wars stuff, because I think
because I'll just prattle on.
No. Well, before we get into that, I just want to touch back on the 2019 injury. Yeah. I know you've been a big advocate for it. I know you've been a big advocate for mental health, and a lot of these things are very important to the community. Like even me, I've been through some things. I know Terry. Also, I know you probably want to speak on that too. But man, how is it now experiencing something like that and being an advocate and really trying to, like you said, help people kind of get through these things that there's really not that much people talking about it, but yet here you are talking about it and being a great advocate for it. So how is it you helping these guys out going through this?
Well, for a while it's like when you're just riding around looking for courage to shoot yourself in the chest so you can just escape. Like I had neurogenic tremors, I'm stuttering, I can't see a future for myself, I'm too vulnerable to go into the grocery store. And then how am I going to make a living? My living is physical. You know what I mean? It's like all of that stuff coming down and on a sick mind, and what I say, I didn't know how sick I was until I started to get better. If you can dig that, I didn't know until I started recovering how deep in the well I was. And I had been for a long time. And my mother had told me, she says, I'm so glad you got hurt. And I go, why is that? And she says, because you've been getting darker for the last 10 years and I just couldn't put a finger on it. And it's this thing, they call it an invisible injury. And you don't know you're afflicted because having head injuries is like somebody just shifts the scope of your perception a little bit. And you don't notice it because you view the world through your perception. So you don't know it's tilted. You just know that they're fucking kind of bothering you. And then you're a little irritable about why don't you see it how I see it? And all of that stuff starts to grow and snowball, and it starts little. And so anyway, I try to give anybody a lot of broad room that I know might be afflicted because there's damage all over. And when you start speaking about a language of recovery for brain injury, to have people like, a lot of people go, I understand, I used to get depressed and it's like, it's not that. Don't suffer me with that shit, But to hear guys that have really suffered, and to hear that there can be recovery is powerful. But I was doing, I did things that I was like, I don't know if this is going to hurt me or not, but I don't care because I'm already at the end anyway. So it don't matter to me. Either I get better or I die. I'm good either way. And so I'll just try. And funny enough, that's the same way that I thought of fights, of training, of everything else. I'm like, you can train hard enough to where you're like, I don't know, my heart's going to explode right now, but I'm just fucking going to go. Or I don't know what this will be like, but I turn into the fear. And so when you go into it, man, there's a sense of freedom because you don't care if the darkness envelops you because you're already there. And so what, maybe there's an upside or this can end. Either way is good. And it took a lot, I sat drooling and I'd sob every day, big, deep, like, messy, snotty tears for 2 years probably. And I'd take a couple jobs and I'd hurt myself more, like even just doing head reactions from punches would, like, on a hurt brain, it hurts the brain more. And so I just learned how to nourish my brain. I've gotten deep into daily practices of breathing, meditation, ice baths. I'm real careful about how I eat, fish oil supplementation, and all that. It's like I just try to dial my life in to be as beneficial to myself and others as I can be, because I still got people that need me. My mama's still alive and my dad's here. These are folks that need me to be here and need me to be well. And I feel like I've been restored to a place where where I was maybe when I was a teenager or something like that. Like, and I don't have I'm living the future I used to fear. I always thought the other shoe was about to drop. Like the end is always like that kind of, you think the consequence is going to be awful no matter what, even though you can't see it and everything's good. It's like I couldn't enjoy anything.
Mm-hmm.
And to be beyond that is a huge gift. And everybody's hurt differently. I understand that too. But I feel like I can give voice to what recovery might look like. And maybe there's hope in it because I get it. And if you can't hang on and you got to go, I get that too.
Yeah.
And God bless, man. And I don't know what's next. I feel like I ain't scared of death either, and I never was before just because I was foolhardy. And now I don't care about it because I think it's probably the next big adventure. I don't think that this spirit, that this life, that this energy that animates us just ends any more than the light from the sun that grows the vegetables that then nourishes. All this energy just changes. And I think it's kind of like that. And I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm not eager to be there. I'm not living a death wish, but I'm free,
Well, I've heard a lot of people say that they've been inspired by your words or even like interviews. And I know me and Terry were talking, a couple days ago before, leading up to the show, and we saw the complete interview with
Katie.
With Katie. Freaking awesome. We loved it. I watched the whole thing. By the time I was done, I was like, oh shit, this was 2 hours. Very, very freaking well done. Good. Everything about it was amazing. But I know Terry, you wanted to touch on something with that, right?
Oh, I can a little bit. I'm not sure exactly how much I can say because there's still litigation going on in my situation.
It's okay. It's okay.
But I did have a pretty high energy car crash. A gal was doing 71 and a 25 in a construction zone, and I was changing lanes. I had seen her way back when I checked my rearview mirrors, and I was trying to turn left to get into a parking lot. And I changed lanes, and before I knew it, my window was down. I heard a sound, and she just railed me, man. Knocked the entire front wheel and brake assembly off the car. Just then threw me all the way across 4 lanes, all the way up against the curb on the far side of the road. And my head, because she kind of hit me from the side at an angle, my head went through the window and just creased the top of the door there. And I didn't even know that I was jacked up really that bad until like the next day or even like a couple of days after. Turns out, I was concussed. And a lot of what you were describing there, I don't know, I caught myself nodding my head a lot when you were talking. And everything that you were talking about was sounding very familiar because I didn't get help for it right away. I was evaluated, but I didn't really get in to see anybody. And I wound up getting TMS therapy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's transcranial magnetic stimulation. It's kind of like the better cousin of electroshock therapy, but not nearly as invasive and remarkable for concussion work. But before I got going on that, man, if you go back and watch my live streams from that time, you'll catch me stuttering all the time. You'll catch me losing concentration, drifting off. Like you said, Tate, I mean, I was getting into a pretty dark place there. I was pretty miserable. I was spending every night just sitting on my couch drinking. Yeah. And
which is awesome because they tell me that drinking is like putting a head injury on top of a head injury.
Yeah.
The answer that we have, I mean, I work in the stunt business and combat sports. It's like, what happens after the fight? Everybody gets hammered. You know what I mean? It's the only medicine that's left. All the medicines that's left hurt.
Yeah.
And there is no, when I went to the doctor, they go, well, take fish oil. And if you're not better in 8 months, come on back and we'll give you Alzheimer's medicine. And I go,
wow.
Wow. Thank you.
I go, what about hyperbaric chambers? What about and they're like, we don't do that. And so the help that we got to find is us. It's like I go back to that Jijitsu mafia shit. It's like, we are what we got, and
you got to be your own advocate.
It's so important. And when you're hurt, when you don't even have a mind to be an advocate, right?
Yeah.
And so, the support of the people around me, I'm just immensely grateful. I pushed everybody away from my life completely. And I really relate to that stuff. It's not till a couple of days later. I mean, I tried to change hotel rooms the next day to get back to LA from Boston. And they told me, no, we don't have any more rooms left. They're all booked up now and you're supposed to check out tomorrow. But our sister hotel across town, and I go, And I stopped for a second. I go, I don't know. And I just go, okay, thanks. Because I go, I don't know how I'm going to get my bags into a car and find the hotel. There's no way I can do that.
Yeah, just like your basic level functioning, you're just incapable of.
Dude, a year and a half later, I had to call one of my brown belts, who I knew was just down the street. I'd just seen him, and I go, dude, I got a flat tire and I don't know what to do. And he goes, dude, just stay where you are, man. And he come and help me. You know, it's like basics. Like the next day when I'm supposed to pack my bag to go to LA, I go, I don't know how my bag works. I'm not sure how to put stuff. I don't know what. And my friend Antal Khalik come over and help me. You know what I mean? It's like the simple things eluded me, and I just didn't know. But I do know that stuff came back. You know, and the brain is an amazing thing that can repair. I knew lion's mane mushrooms are one of the only things that passes the blood-brain barrier, and it has synaptogenic and neurogenic studies on it that show that it has a tendency towards regrowing those parts. And so there's all kinds of hope out there, but there's not much that's spoken about in a lot of places, unfortunately.
But they do seem to be learning a lot, even especially in recent years. I mean, I follow a couple of different neuroscientists on their podcasts and such. Sam Harris is one of them, and he's not really a practicing neuroscientist. He's gone more in the direction of philosophy these days and meditation. But his stuff is still well worth listening to because he's smart, and his guests are just brilliant, consistently brilliant. But what they're learning about I mean, first of all, they're recognizing now that what for so many years people thought of in relation to what a concussion was, it's not necessarily the case. You don't even actually have to suffer a blow to your head in order to be concussed. If something happens that just rattles your head around and it never strikes anything, that actual act of just having your head shaken like that is enough to give you a concussion. And that's
noise.
Yeah. Yeah, like I had an MRI, not an MRI. I had a CT scan after my accident. No symptoms of concussion, but just based on the way that I was presenting, they went ahead and diagnosed me as having a concussion.
There's very few people that have markers that they can find in MRI or CAT scans.
Yeah.
So Stanford's been doing studies on them, and with war veterans, and I'll say this because it's huge my doctor, a guy named Kirk Parsley, he was a Navy SEAL that then became a doctor, and then he helped other Navy SEALs, and he saw that they weren't sleeping. And the only place we really get nourishing rest for the brain is through sleep. And so he saw all these guys were on Ambien, and all he knew was they didn't have an Ambien deficiency, you know. And all their test levels, all their hormones, endocrine systems are all crashed. And but just the driving in a Zodiac and hitting the waves.
Yeah.
Every time they land, head injury. Any pistol shots, any rifle shots. Amplify that if you're inside a vehicle. Have you ever shoot a gun inside a car? It's like all that stuff. And so you're looking at these head injuries from these variant of places, and some of it has nothing to do with getting your head cracked. But then there's also those that do, you know. But I don't know. That's my next goal is like, I'd really like to get some equipment into the like MERT machine. And what Stanford's doing is they're talking about scanning guys' brains that they can see marks in. And then they go down to, like VETS is an organization called Veterans Exploring Treatment Solutions. And they go down, they administer a treatment of Iboga. And then they come back to Stanford and they test themselves. And they don't have any signs that are physical in the brain anymore. There's healing aspects, that are out there. And so I'd love to get Dana White. I'd love to get WWE, NFL. I'd love to get these guys to look at it because guys are dying all the time. And people are like, oh, look, when they see their 12-year-olds bump heads on the football field and they're dizzy, they're like, everybody giggles. And it's like, you've invariably changed that child for forever.
Yeah.
You don't even know how much until down the road. And so. And
because it's not presenting as you would expect it, as historically they expected it to present, but in reality, it was just there, invisible. And I don't want to say silent but deadly. That has negative connotations, but it's an actual description of it. I mean, and it's actually terrifying. I'm like, and I have to ask myself, how many other times have I been concussed and I just didn't know it?
They know. Yeah, exactly.
I never thought that, like, one of my first doctors, Dan Engel, he was a soccer player. That's where he got his concussions, from heading the ball.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that's a thing, you know, because I'm over here hitting myself with 2x4s. Like, I was like, there wasn't enough. Oh my God, you know.
Oh.
Listen, so it's all good stuff, man. Like I said, I've known a lot of people who've listened to you and stuff. So I really hope that, you know, in the future you do find something with, you know, Dana and you know, WWE or anything like that. If there's anything that I can help with, I know a couple of people in the WWE and stuff, but I think that's important, man. And, you know, to have somebody advocate for that like you and speak of it, I think that's awesome. So we really, you know, we really appreciate it. Like I said, that interview yesterday was, well, not yesterday, but the one that we saw with Katie was amazing.
Thanks,
so
man.
Good job there.
Here, because I feel like it's a trip. I've been hearing that this weekend too. And you go and you sit down and you talk with a friend, just like you guys right now, you know, and I just speak on what it's been for me.
Yeah.
And then, wait, did I overshare? You know, and I go, you know, it's like this.
No, I don't think you do. I think that impacts people, man. Stories are the best. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially ones that you've, you know, gone through yourself.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, I appreciate it, man, for sure.
Some people really only absorb things anecdotally. I mean, that's why they have parables. So it's the best way for some people to learn is to have somebody share something that happened to them.
It's a crazy truth that we heal through storytelling.
Yeah.
Through hearing each other's story, through the empathy that comes in that, the compassion. I mean, there's a lot of deepness that happens in that.
Yeah, it's all part of being a community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That to me was like experiencing like the best TED talk I've ever listened to. You know what I mean? Like that. Your story was just absolutely phenomenal. I'm not trying to like make a joke about it. I'm just being like serious. Like the speakers, like that do these types of things, like listening to your story, man, and everything that you have, and also the positivity that you're trying to bring and continue to bring, you know, to in all these different aspects of your life and everything that you've gone through. It's just super inspirational. So I appreciate you sharing that.
For sure. Dude, like, you know, I don't know if anybody's ever told you this. I said it earlier before you came on. Like, I wish you had your own podcast, to be honest with you, you know? And you got friends that are super popular, you know?
Everybody's doing it, Tate.
There's this one guy that I know that you're friends with that has a real small podcast called the Joe Rogan Podcast. I mean, I'm sure he can help.
Never heard of it.
Like,
who?
I'm not familiar.
Yeah. I heard it called Pirate Life Radio. And
oh yeah.
that was just the rap, but I've got to get it. I've just got to get technologically together to where I can just go on, do it, and I've got to start again. I'm really eager to. I've been reticent to for a long time, but now I'm feeling like well enough to be able to do that. That's a goal of mine this year for sure.
Understandable. There is a learning curve. Trust me.
Yeah. I probably just need the right 18-year-old kid to set it up.
If you have any of those in your life, that might be your best bet.
Right.
Aaron, are you available, Aaron?
I knew he was gonna say something.
Listen, so if you ever need help, I'm always willing to help too. Let's move on to the Star Wars thing now, because this is the bread and butter for me. So, you know, you've gone from, you know, being, you know, in stunts and playing these smaller but epic roles, right, against some of the best names in Hollywood. And then all of a sudden you get this job that comes across your table. And I know how it is with past guests that have been on the show and just, you know, watching interviews and that when it comes to things that have to do with Disney/Star Wars, it's very secretive up until the point. So I want to know two things. Number one, how this opportunity came about, because I know that in the first, I believe it was the first episode of The Mandalorian, you showed up, like your face. And then all of a sudden we find out later on that you're also playing, you know, Paz. But my question to you is, you know, not only how did that happen, but also how different was it from anything else you've done? Because I know with other things, you have a script in front of you. You kind of already know what's going on. With Disney, everything kind of unravels like the day of or maybe the day before. And it's kind of like you're living through it at the moment, which, you know, it could be harder, could be easier. But talk to us about those things for us, if you don't mind.
That's a really good way to say it. You're living.
Is it? Okay, good.
I dig that. I never heard it put so succinctly. Yeah, I went in. I mean, I got an audition to go and read for this Alpha Trawler character. It was like, described to me as like the gang boss of the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go and I read and I do one take and the guy goes, dude, that was great. And nobody ever really gives a shit how you do. And they don't know. They're going to send that video off to somebody that makes a decision. And he says, do you want to do another? I go, if you want. He goes, I think we're good. I go, all right, cool. And so I leave, and it's all the same guys that I always see, right? In those kinds of roles, I get put in by a stunt coordinator who has a list of guys because he's called all his friends. He goes, hey, who do you know that's a big, intimidating dude that can act, though, too, and that can move? And then there's me, and there's 7 other guys, that fit that go in for the audition. And so I see all these guys. I go, oh, this is one of those things. It's the same for the accountant or for whatever, right? And I get a call the next day. They said, hey, dude, they want you for that job. I go, wow, wicked. That's cool. I'm working. Don't know it's for Disney. Have no idea what it is. And I speak Hatties in that opening scene, right? And so I do the English. I don't know there's no language involved. I don't know any of that. And then I get a call the next day. They go, hey, dude, Favreau saw your audition. And I go, whoa, Favreau saw. That's cool. What's he doing right now? And he wants you to play this other part. And I go, okay. So I figure I lose the first part probably. And I'm just glad to be at the party. I'm glad to be employed. And then they go, but for that, you're going to have to go out to this thing, Legacy Effects out in the Valley. And they're going to have to fit you for a costume. And I go, all right, cool. And so I make an appointment and I go out there and they start measuring me. And I don't know what this is. I'm just in Under Armour. And they're measuring everything, like from here to here on my hand. They're everything. And then like a half hour in, and they got everything in there. The guy from like The Sound of Water, the creature, he's in the front entryway of the place. They got all the guys from Modern Warfare coming out of the ceiling, rappelling down. They got Darth Vader and stormtroopers walking down the set. I mean, they've done everything. And there's guys in there that are carving like stuff for Jurassic World, carving the feet of dinosaurs and shit. Like, it's just an amazing arts and crafts center, basically. And I'm in this room, and there's like 8 other people. They're doing all the measurements, taking pictures, this and that. And then a guy comes in, and he's got this matte black Boba Fett helmet. And I go, holy fuck, am I Boba Fett now?
Oh, shit. Yo, what?
They go, no. They go, actually, it's supposed to be this other guy. Then he got this other job, and then now you're here. And I go, all right, cool, And so I just go through with the measurements. I go up there 3 or 4 more times as they're starting to build the suit. They don't know what it is until they start putting it together, And they're just calling it heavy
infantry Mandalorian.
This is what's written on all the like plastic bags that have my Under Armour and shit. Heavy bounty hunter.
Okay.
And so I go, all right. And,
thanks for repeating that. I kind of talked over you, so I'm glad you said it again. Thank you.
And so I keep doing that, and then I get on set, and I play Alpha Trawler and do that. And Filoni's there. The linguist that I've worked with to speak Hatties is there, and we're all in this little bar. And there's this thing called the volume, which is the world that we live in, which is basically like being inside a video game with your friends. It's the whole, all the walls, the ceiling are all video imposed. And so you're looking at an ice planet that a walkway walks out of the bar that I'm in, out onto the ice, and there's a ship out there. And it's like you're there. It's amazing. So that's the first time I see that technology. And to be directed by Favreau and Filoni and that, and it's all kind of off of me and my actions. And I was like, dude, this is like being the number one in a show. And then Mando comes in and he and I scrap. And
so epic.
It was really. But then when I found out how big it was, really big, was when I walk out as Paz and all the nerds from Disney are there, all the execs that are like the marketing people and all that kind of stuff, and they want to see what this is. And I go, why is this so important? This is crazy. And then they take me from that kind of show and tell out to a tent where there's 1,000 cameras all around, and I'm doing all these poses. What do you think cool poses would be for the toys?
Yes. Let's go. Hold on.
You get input.
There we go.
Hold on. Look at what we got here real quick. Look. Boom. There's one. All right. And then
I'm pretty sure that Aaron copied off of me.
boom.
There we
Look
go.
at that.
There's my guy.
Yeah.
And then
And he's actually getting ready to be reposed.
ooh,
But yeah, that's coming. That's a thing that's going to happen. But,
officially.
But you work with my friend Andy.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we share the same last name, but not genetic material.
So I went through. He took me out there and gave me a tour. And you work in a playhouse. Oh my god!
I actually am working remotely now. I'm living in St. Louis now, but yeah, I was there for several years before transitioning into the role that I have now.
Place. I mean, as a kid that grew up
Yeah.
in all those worlds, and then you get to see it's just incredible.
It's kind of like the way you described. For me, it was kind of like the way you described. I keep wanting to call it Stan Winston Studio Legacy Effects. The way you describe Legacy Effects, it's like that only in miniature.
Yeah.
Yeah, scaled down.
It's almost being like in a secret place too. I mean, it's like this huge warehouse, and you walk in, and it's like you're in Harry Potter or something in a way. It's really crazy.
Yeah, I think there are photos out there of the lobby if you guys haven't seen it.
The lobby's incredible.
Yeah, that's been. I think that's been that way for about a decade now. But it so they could change it like any minute. But right now it looks amazing. I love it.
Cool. It's really cool.
And this is a picture of you here with the figure.
Yeah.
Dude, look how big your hands are. Jesus Christ.
That's the day I went and toured Legacy.
This is cool, man. This is cool.
Oh, that's from Legacy or that's from Sideshow?
Or from Sideshow, rather. I'm
okay,
sorry.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't recognize that wall though.
And then look, I got one too here, so you guys can see. I'm about to open this up while you guys are talking, but this is the bust. I don't know if you can see it.
They all look the same. All of our figures look the same, even the bust. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah. So now you're in there. You're finding out that this is huge, right? You're finding out that this is a big thing. All the big wigs at Disney see you, standing ovation. You got like this life-size Mando new character. Is it true that this was supposed to be for Filoni, the outfit?
No.
Favreau
voiced Vizsla in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Pre Vizsla.
His fetish idea, but he wouldn't be able to do that, and then he said, "Well, we already used your voice for that first scene. That's why because I didn't know he dubbed my voice until I was at the premiere, and I hear it and I go, what the?" And so that was all. Like he wanted to be that character really badly. He put his head on a doll. He did all that, but he never been in the suit. He just had a real affinity for the character and for the line of the Vizslas, and it's his dream. It's his creation. That's his shit. So yeah,
that's cool. So real quick, let me show this because it took 2 seconds to put it together, but so you guys can see it.
Wicked.
Oh wow!
Yeah. The size of that gun.
Looks
wow.
nice. I like that.
So this is believe it or not, it's a mini bust from Gentle Giant. It's not expensive at all, but it's pretty big. Like it's a pretty big, But look at, I'm trying to get the camera. There you go.
Yeah, that's dope.
It's freaking.
Hey, we were talking before the show started. All of that weight, all of that armor, all together, in poundage. How heavy was it?
Not a clue.
Good answer.
He said paperweight, man. Paperweight,
Barely felt it.
I'll say it's heavier at the end of the day than it is at the beginning.
One sympathizes.
It's a suit. You put that. I've never worn anything like that before, and you've got to decide to be present all the time, or it will contort you. You know what I mean? It's like that. And then when you got the pack on, and the pack is off your back that far, and so it's pulling you back, so you're fighting. You're fighting to be present forward, and then the gun is on, and it pulls you to the side. Like there's all that, right? There's times when I was like, oh, it'll look cool if I just had the gun up, and there's a couple of scenes I was walking away like that. And when I was in the chamber before I go out to see the before I go kill all the stormtroopers and all that. And I thought, fuck, this was a choice because it's heavy as fuck. And I'm like, and it's not bad for the first few shots, but you do that 12 or 15 times where you're holding up that. I was like, this was a choice, but it looks cool. But yeah, it's heavy. It's all heavy.
That's funny. Yeah, one of our guys in the chat, Slane Kramer, asked at the beginning of the show. He's like, I just want to know how heavy it was.
Yeah.
But listen, so so now you're throughout the season, you're coming out like different episodes and stuff. How was the fan reaction? How was your reaction like when you saw that this was bigger than life and it just wasn't just like this is a legit character and like someone who's gonna take a great lead in the storyline because he fought Mando and then he befriended him, or he was his friend, and the whole training with his son and how he saved his son. There was a big emotional roller coaster with the character. The fight scenes were amazing, and the way you went out was as badass as. And the funny thing is, the way he went out fits you as a person, man, because you're that badass that you would do some shit like that. And that right there, like when he went down, I think all of us, because obviously throughout every episode we would talk about it. It was just badass, man. Like I got
my dad was bad. He went out though. He wanted him to keep going.
Oh,
can I just say though? I mean, there was something about Paz Vizsla is one of those rare characters that you start out. I mean, we've been given no real reason to like this guy. He's definitely antagonistic towards our protagonist, the Mandalorian, that everybody just loves. And that continues to be the case until gradually, just if you're paying attention subtly, you'll notice that things start to change. And I'm going to guess it probably happened right about the time he saved the kid. But it definitely culminated there at the end when he was willing to sacrifice himself for oh God, I'm Din Djarin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Geek card revoked again. But it's so when I think about you, Tait, and when I see you on Katie's show, and when and seeing you here, and connecting you with that character, one of the things that always goes through my head is, damn, how many people get to actually play a character that's just begins being so reviled. And then when his end finally comes, and it's such an end, when that end finally gets here, legitimately, people who legitimately loathed him 2 years before are in tears.
Yeah.
That had to be just a gift. I mean, am I right?
And then when I think about it, what is the trick of media? And just to look at it, this is that Paz never changed. Who changed?
We did.
So we're taught to love the Mandalorian, and really Grogu. I mean, I don't even know that people like Din Djarin so much as they love Grogu, right?
Right.
They're partners,
That's
right?
fair.
There's a relationship that's love, and what my character represented for me was more along the lines of, I'm the hammer for the armorer. I'm the line in the sand for the tradition of Mandalore. And this guy is a dude that is a scavenger that's gotten some shit from the Empire, that's gotten some of our armor, and he doesn't belong. He's just a scavenger. And so this is all kind of in a way of like pushing him and putting borders on him to go, this is the way we behave. And so as a the antagonist in that way, I'm just the guy that's holding the line. That's going, this is how I need you to behave if you want to fuck with us. Mm-hmm. And then we see Din change. And then we see that speech that I give in the cave where it's like, we all have to come a little bit or we're going to die separately.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I never thought about it that way.
Right. And so I think that like I'm unchanged through the whole thing, but the whole audience does change because they're so easily hypnotized. Like, here's a guy that doesn't hold a standard for what the tradition and the kind of stoic behavior of a Mandalorian ought to be. And he has to learn. And so that's the growing process of kind of he and I becoming brothers throughout it, I think. That's kind of how I felt about it anyway.
You've given me a whole new way to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. I'm gonna have to take some time to process this.
Yeah, we'll talk again.
Yeah.
I
hope so.
Dude, listen, and the other thing too is the acting behind it, right? Because like you're in a helmet, you probably could barely see. I'm assuming, I don't know. And from what I understand, the angles, the way you tilt your head, the way your body movement is, because you're kind of expressing stuff with your body versus, you know what I mean? So like, talk to us how different that was for you, and anything else that you thought was cool about, playing the character.
It's huge. What that took was a community, right? It takes Katie and Emily and Brendan and Lateef to go, hey, that's or whoever's directing, Carl Weathers, Favreau, to like, that's too much, or that's because you don't know how you're looking. And so, when you're acting normally, it's like, if you're trying to look puzzled, you're doing too much. If you're actually puzzled, it's a different thing. And so you don't have the same expression in the suit per se, but you can easily do too much. And so it'd just be like us talking to each other about how it reads and what looks good and what doesn't. The other thing is like I said, you have to stand up against the suit in order to be able to express how you want, because the suit will take you otherwise. And my favorite character is Chewbacca for sure in the Star Wars universe.
Nice. Yeah, he's my favorite too.
And all I thought about when I got that job and I see what this character is like, you better do this right, because this is important. You know what I mean? Because of the canon of Star Wars, because of what this has meant to generations now, right? Several generations of people that have like the only real working mythology that's in theater or film is out of this. I mean, people have gotten spirituality through this. People have seen the arcs of as above, so below, in like the good and bad of the universe versus the good and bad that's in each man's heart. That's the tension that's tearing people apart. I mean, it's amazing, and there's nothing like it. And so I just knew I needed to stand up strong. I needed to have his intention be there, and I needed my movements to be like that. And so the heaviness of the suit, it's banded, and so the chest is compressed to bring to the hips. The hips are compressed to the knees. And just to stand up with that is like, it brought an intention to the character also. So those two things, the help of my castmates and directors, and then just my idea about the strength that I wanted him to have and carry through it.
I remember listening to, this was years ago, listening to an interview with Hugo Weaving. Well, he was talking about playing V for Vendetta. And very similar thing for those who don't know the movie, the character's behind a mask the whole time. And he was talking about, it's a real learning curve. You kind of have to relearn the whole craft, because, you have to figure out all the subtle movements that you're making that you from behind the mask or behind the helmet, you don't know how that looks from the outside. Mm-hmm. You could be thinking intimidation, and then you go see it on the monitor. You're like, what was that? That is completely There's a lot of like you said, there's a lot of third party feedback that you need in order to see how things are bouncing off people.
And what a beautiful job he did on that. That's a hell of a piece of art.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
that's cool, man. That's cool that you took some inspiration from Chewbacca too. I think that's pretty cool.
If I could piggyback off of Miguel's question real quick, as well as kind of what you mentioned with the whole, Favreau dubbing you type of thing. I've always been curious, and I'm sure you've been asked many a times, but between you and like the actors that have physically played Mando, how does that work as far as on set when you're filming the scenes? Are you still, speaking the dialogue and like the scripts and everything like in the same way, whether behind the helmets or however, to act out the scenes? How does that work as far as with that, whether or not it's going to be dubbed after the fact?
Don't know. I mean, Brendan knew, I suppose.
Yeah.
Brendan, Mando. Never saw Pedro in my life. I just see Brendan and Lateef. Lateef does all the action. He's an incredible stuntman.
Yeah.
A capoeira fighter. And Brendan is, of course, John Wayne's grandson, and is kind of the gunslinger, right? And so he actually was hired as Mando because originally they didn't want to have any. It was like the original George Lucas way of doing things. You know, Han Solo, played by Harrison Ford. Harrison was a carpenter. He was a set carpenter on film.
Yeah.
He wasn't an actor per se. Mark Hamill was an unknown nobody. And so they kind of wanted to go like that with this also. And then I think Kathleen Kennedy and Disney got their way in it. And they said, we need, I don't know if they need to package a star because they're also going to work on another show with this actor. So they want to put him, you know, I mean, there's all of that stuff politically that goes on. But anyway, Pedro came on. They decided after they'd already hired Brendan that they wanted to have that. But we go through all the scenes. I mean, it's the only way you can do blocking and understand it all. And I think I'm probably the only one that didn't think I was being dubbed that first season, but then it changes later, you know, and he gives up doing the voice after Boba Fett. But it's the only way to act off of each other. And some of the stunt people it's an incredible set of people to work with. The women that doubled Mercedes and Katie and Emily,
Sasha Banks,
they're just incredible. Yeah, Sasha's incredible. It's a hell of a piece to be in. You know, you're with people that are at the top echelon of their art craft, and whether that's the camera people, whether that's the art people, whether that's legacy effects, whether that's the performers that are there with you, it's wild. Like, kudos to everybody.
Yeah. I got a question too, actually. So every time I watch Star Wars, even for like smaller characters that come up just real quick, it's crazy that they're part of that universe forever. Right. And that's so cool that, like, even, you know, secondary actors and things like that, they're part of it. How does it feel being part of the Star Wars Star Wars universe, like, forever? That's insane for me to think that.
Yeah, you're cemented, bro.
Yeah.
It's hard to, you know what I mean? It's like if you're inside the fishbowl, people are like, oh, is the fishbowl dirty? You don't know. You're just inside it all, you know? And, it's a trip even now to think that, you know, and here's the other thing is, it's not that I don't care, but I can't be concerned about it because that ain't the last thing I'll do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so what's the next thing that you want to give your attention to? Well, you know, this idea about resting on your laurels or something, or like, oh, now you've arrived. So it's like, that doesn't exist. There's like, what's the next thing you're excited about doing and going there? And because all that stuff about, it's beautiful to be imprinted on film and to have people think I did a good job, but it's not important. If I think of it as too important, I lose the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know, and there's that kind of part of it. And I've got a lot to do still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, well, listen, you did a phenomenal job playing that role. I hope he comes back. I don't know. We'll see. But speaking,
I don't.
Goes, who really dies in Star Wars anyway?
That's what I said. You never know.
But I don't want to be rude, but I don't.
Why?
I don't want. If Paz comes back, I would welcome it in two scenarios. One, of course, would be a flashback or a prequel. Another would be some sort of a spirit guide.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I think. He comes back. There's a vengeance scene with Ragnar, and he becomes like Obi-Wan to Luke, as he is to Ragnar. So that's what I thought too. And then I thought, I want to see Mandalore in its heyday.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Cool.
I think that would be cool too.
That would be cool. That would be cool,
but
man.
It's important that he's dead. I really love what you just said, because is he more powerful in what he's left as far as a lesson to many?
True.
Versus the ego self of like, we want him around. I don't know. And I don't know the answer to that, but it's something I question.
I always have an issue with bringing characters back from the dead, especially in the event of such a good death as that Paz had. Yep. Because it cheapens their sacrifice.
Right.
And I don't want that to happen to Paz. I want him to.
I want to do a live action of Bad Batch, and I'll play Wrecker.
Nice,
dude.
Yes.
right? Something like
You would be perfect
Bring
as
it.
Wrecker, man. Yeah.
Bring that to me, please.
So wait, so see now you got me going. So speaking of the future, speaking of Bad Batch and all that,
Yeah.
I wanted to do a little bit of some like fan casting for you. And Aaron stole the thunder from me earlier.
Bro,
Yeah.
he's Kratos, bro.
Look at this, bro. Look at this. Ready? Look.
Yeah,
Oh!
Oh,
I didn't even play that game, and I'd go see that. I'd
It's
go see that movie
you.
in a heartbeat.
It's you
Yeah.
all day, bro. It's you all day. And the funny part is that I put it on top of I put the Kratos picture on top of your picture and masked it so it shows just like the paint on you.
Yeah.
Bro, it looks, dude, I'm telling you, you could play this. So if anybody's watching out there that has anything to do with this game becoming a movie, hit my boy up, please. This has to get done, man. I mean, look at this one more time. Look. Boom. Bow.
All day.
It's you, bro. It's you.
What are the differences between A and B? There aren't any.
There aren't
the
any.
difference.
There aren't any, dude. Like, you know, his voice is really deep. You know, he's humongous. I mean, dude, I think you would kill this role.
Let's get it.
What do you think? Have you heard this before?
Yeah, of course. I want to get my energy there. You know, the thing is like I just all I got to do is keep serving the thing well in front of me to get. You know, you've got to be a certain acclaim to be saleable to these big movie houses and shit.
Mhm.
People that own these characters because they would want a Batista or a Momoa or something, right?
Yeah, true.
And so I just got to keep grinding. You know, I got a great little part coming up on Gen V, which will be the next thing.
Nice.
Oh, let's go.
So little by little we climb, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited for that.
Oh, and the other thing is like the only way you got agency in this kind of business is if you're in the creation, right? And you know, Keith Jardine, my brother for a long time, just my partner through, I don't know, since like 2000 probably, from grappling back in the day to fights to then movies. And we've been in a ton of shit together, Jurassic World, John Wick. And then he's been writing. And we got a feature film coming out that he wrote.
All that.
And to do that with your friends, that's the best shit I ever done. And so, you know, now creating our own stories too. It's like there's nothing out there that you can't do. You know, when I was younger and I told Keith Willard, I was like, yeah, man, nice pipe dream. I'm a kid from Michigan. I'm not going to be in a movie. Man, whatever you want to do will grow. Fall in love with your life. Fall in love with the thing that you're doing. The thing that they all said, oh, you should, you know, the fruits of the universe is spelled R-I-S-K. And if you don't fucking risk it rolling them dice, man, you're going to live somebody's life that they told you to live that you're not happy with. And that's the thing is like, there's just hope for whatever it is you want to do. There's possibility. I mean, for God's sakes, they told you rot your brain if you play video games when I was a kid. And now
look at people now.
Paid athletes in the world play fucking video games in Vegas. It's insane. So
that's crazy.
Turns you on, man.
And don't get me started on what they were saying about Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid.
Crazy.
So have you played this game or know about this character at all?
The only closest thing I've been to video games is you know, the AI fight is really deep in my heart because when I was on Jurassic World, they scanned me. And then the next year, Grand Theft Auto 5 or whatever comes out, and I'm one of the special characters.
Yeah. Oh, hell no.
And I don't have any acknowledgement for that, no money for that.
Yeah.
I heard of that.
I talk about AI a lot on my live stream.
There's no advocacy
no.
for us as the technology. So the technology got ahead of advocacy. Nobody knew they could do that. And then they start doing that. They did Megan Fox at the same time. She had enough money, she could fight it. And then I'm in Red Dead Redemption 3, basically for my character in the Jean-Claude Van Johnson thing. Now it's nice that I got fans at you know, GameStop or wherever the, you know, whatever the game thing is that they do. But good Lord, man, it's like they can do whatever they want with you. And so that kind of thing too, to be in creation, to have enough power that you can say fuck you to Disney or whoever it is that steals you.
Yeah.
It's a crazy time, you know. But the only way you can do that, it's like what Gina Carano's going through. The only way that she can get free is to have Elon Musk money to pay the lawyers. And so there's all these little subtle fights going. There's the coolest shit in the world happening, and then there's all the stuff that you trudge through that you're like, okay, how do I move smartly and deftly through this field? Because people will take from you it's the same old story, right? It's like turn on Animal Planet, it's rape and murder all day long.
Oh my God.
Here we
well,
are.
listen. So we got Kratos, right? Who else did we say earlier? Who?
Wrecker.
Oh, Wrecker.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody said Sabretooth. I think that would be a cool one. Any other people you've gotten?
Favorite Sabretooth and Wolverine battling back in the day. Good Lord.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That made me so happy.
But yeah, for me, I think it's Kratos for sure.
Wicked.
For sure. Let's I got one more thing before we go, and this is gonna be a fun thing, okay? This is just gonna be
I love the fun things.
This is gonna be for you, okay? I have pictures of random people that you know, okay? And once I pop up a picture, I just want you to tell us the first thing that pops up in your mind, good, bad, or indifferent.
All
right. You just got to be truthful about it. You just got to let us know what your first thought is when you see this person. Okay. All right. So here we go. So let's see if I could. And some of them are cool. And then I got a thing about your boy later because I think it's funny. But all right, here we go. Here we go. And go.
An innovator.
Okay.
Not an innovator.
This is one of the greatest jokes in the world that he doesn't get. It's amazing. I want to give him a T-shirt that says "I'm completely missing the point."
That's great.
I'd like to donate $5 towards the purchase of that.
Yeah, I would donate to that.
He's
design it.
Tortured by his own fame, It's like he believes because there's enough people. If you're crazy and you're powerful like that, where you pay like for my kid's private school or for the summer house, you're the producer, director, and all that work for him. You have to pretend he's not crazy, so he gets crazier. It's insane. Yeah, Hollywood, what a trip.
Single songwriter said chef cook. Oh, that's so funny. All right, that was a good one. That was great. All right. Next. Here we go.
Oh, the best in the world. I got a full cutout of him on my refrigerator. Yeah, an idol for sure.
I know. Yeah, I knew he meant a lot to you. That's why I put that up. All right, here we go.
Oh, the man. The biggest heart in jiu-jitsu. He's a guy that he makes you feel like you're the only one in the room.
Yes.
And then also, what an asset to the earth. Yeah. If you don't know, you should listen. Boy, his interviews are great. But his live tweets when he was getting mugged. Look into it.
Yeah, guys. So just so you know, this guy has been like a role model for me forever, and like I'm always around him. He always remembers you. He'll give the shirt off his back to you. I mean, this guy will light up the room, and his stories are so crazy that they don't make sense until they do make sense. Like it's just like it's crazy. Yeah, he tells his stories in a way where you're just like that shit made sense. It was crazy, but it made sense.
One time, and it was like when he got to America and he did some fights here, like I don't know, on Midwest fights or whatever with like Pat Miletich and shit back in the day. And they go, so you used to fight in Brazil? And he goes, oh yeah. And he goes, you got stabbed through a cage at a cage fight.
Oh yeah, that's on video.
And he goes, oh yeah. And they go, that guy that stabbed you, he was found killed a couple weeks later. And so just this big, he's got the most loving smile. He goes, yeah, bad things happen to bad people.
No, and the thing is, what he was saying earlier, he was getting mugged, or they were gonna try to mug him.
He's like texting, I just got off the subway. 3 men are following me. And then another text or another tweet comes out. My blood is coming up like I'm back home. It's the jungle. And I've got my groceries in one hand. One guy is flanking me. And like he goes, while they're attacked, I've just armbarred and broken one guy's arm. The other guy, I will catch him. And like he's tweeting while he's fucking these guys up, attempting to rob him. It's amazing.
Bro, and the story says that he had one like in a rear naked choke, and he would let them pass out and wait until they're back up again and tweet and then do it again, and it's out there. You could Google that, but I love this man right here. He's one of the best. All right, this freaking guy right here,
my brother. Yeah, man, he's an inspiration to me. I mean, he's one of the hardest working people I know. And you know, I used to just think in fighting because that's just all how I knew him. But to see his work ethic and his consideration for his life he's so impressive. One of the most trustworthy people.
Yeah, for sure. So let me respectfully, because I'm a huge fan of Keith Jardine. I've always been. For guys who don't know him, I've always wanted to find out and not find out sparring him, because if you ever see this guy fight, it is the most awkward fighter ever. Like, I don't even know how one would prepare for this guy. And he's also somebody you never bet against or for, because during his career, he knocked out people that he was not supposed to knock out or beat. And I'm talking about like huge names, right?
First one that put a chink in the armor of Chuck Liddell.
Chuck Liddell, right? Huge.
And I mean, he pieced him up for 3 rounds. Chuck's a good friend of mine, with respect. But Keith was well, I mean, dude, that was an amazing night. That was an amazing night. And yeah, you can't, I mean, it's like Diego Sanchez. You know, you might think this guy's better than him and like Nick Diaz was, right?
Yeah.
Grappler, better striker, better wrestler probably. And Diego whooped that ass for 3 rounds. Just because he can't keep up with the pace. The dog in him is unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, but Keith is one of those guys, man. I would bet on him, and like I was just like, oh, what the hell, or bet against him, and I was like, but I love Keith Jardine. I mean, he's a scary. I mean, he looks scary here, and this is like a professional mugshot of him, like a professional picture. Yeah. Guy's super scary, but I've heard nothing but great things about him, and he's another guy that I would love to meet. And you know, he's doing a lot of things now, like the movie stuff. I thought was really, really cool, and he's super smart. Like he's really into like, you know, breaking things down and stuff. And I love the guy. He's a cool dude, man.
Totally.
All right, let's see who else we got. We got a couple more.
Who's that? Is that Peanut?
Yep, that's Karate Hottie. She's fighting tomorrow.
Yep. She said this might be her last fight.
No, she's so good though, man.
Yeah. We were talking last week. Yeah, she's one of the most beautiful shining lights that I know, and she's in Keith's movie too, and she's an excellent little actress too. She's dope. And you know, here's the thing. I'll tell a little story about her. And I told her, it's emotional, man. It's like there's a lot of us, you know, that have thrown ourselves at life and tried to do something, and the sacrifices that come from that, right? Like maybe you don't have a family, maybe you avoid trying to find love or whatever the thing is. And I know a ton of fighters that are like that, and because they got to keep single-minded, and it's a selfish pursuit. It's shoulder width, that path a lot of times. And when love came to Michelle, she married him. And when the idea of having a baby came, she had a baby, and she never missed a step in her career. And this idea about like what you give love into will grow regardless. It doesn't take from you. And she taught me that. Yeah. That's awesome. She's an awesome competitor, always humble. Yeah. One of the best in the world. She's fighting tomorrow, so good luck to her. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited about tomorrow's fight. So super cool. Let's see who else we got here. Dude, the best in the world. Another guy makes you just. I mean, if you know, some people just make you feel loved just by their presence, and he's like that. You know, this idea of Uncle Joey is like a real thing, man. I love it. It feels like his arms are around you just when you hear this. Dude, I want to be in a room watching fights with him, because he gets so emotionally involved in those fights, man. And he's freaking hilarious. I love everything about. I would love to get him on the show. He's just funny, man. He's a great dude. I love it. Everything about him. One of the
best storytellers.
Oh, for sure.
That's out there. Yeah,
for sure. Another
with the most gracious, kindest heart.
Mm-hmm. Heard nothing but great things about him. Yeah, he's freaking awesome. How about this guy?
Man, I don't know him personally, but he's friends with friends of mine, and that I really regard highly. And I think also, you know, just from what I do know, is like, I mean, he busts a grape, man. That dude,
Mm-hmm.
I want to think, oh, this fake, all these things, right? I don't know anything, and that's called prejudice, right? I
Right.
got an opinion without any experience of them. Come on, and to see what he's done, and
Mm-hmm.
him and his brother are a trip. There's a couple of YouTube kids that are like, "What life do I want to live next?" And they go after their joy, and then
And they do it.
and it's like I got nothing but respect for that.
Same.
The thing is, I like that he want to fight Mike Tyson. I don't like that fight.
Well, I think it got rescheduled now.
I think so.
Yeah. I still think Mike will eat him up. But
there's funny rules with it, though. I heard like that for Mike to get paid, it's got to go all 10 rounds. I heard all kinds of crazy shit. Like,
yeah,
they kind of fudge the rules around to be in favor of. I don't know, and I don't know. Again, I don't really know.
Well, that kind of happened with Roy Jones. The Roy Jones fight with Tyson, they couldn't really technically knock each other out.
Well, the other thing is I think that at that time, I was watching Mike and I listened to everything he's done, and I really admire him so much, But he turned his heart to where he doesn't want to hurt people. And so he goes from a kid that really wants to hurt people. And I go, you see him start his charge, and he never pulls the trigger on any of those punches with Roy Jones.
No.
He doesn't want to hurt. He can't do. I mean, he's not willing to hurt this man. And I thought, and then afterwards, when Roy Jones is kind of hanging his head, getting interviewed, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know," and he's just happy he survived. It looks like, and Mike, and he's his biggest cheerleader. No, man, we'll do this again. We'll make some money. Greatest in the world. Like, I fucking love him, man.
Yeah, I like Mike, and Mike wasn't even tired. He's like, "You've been fighting. I've been retired for how many years?"
That's right.
Yeah, that's cool. But I give props to these guys, man. These guys are good.
This kid is going to do great things. He's young as fuck, but he's got power. He's got a mind.
He's smart as hell.
He's real thoughtful, and that'll only increase. We do a lot of crazy shit that people are. I mean, fuck. I got no stones to throw.
Yeah.
I'm watching some. Here's the thing: we see somebody for 5 seconds. We see a snapshot of their life, and we judge the whole movie of their life. How disrespectful is that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What the art of his life is. I see certain growth patterns where he is in his self-development, and fuck, it's looking nothing but positive right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with it. I give him props. Even when he fought the people he fought, a lot of people were doubting him, and I was like, dude, he's athletic, he's good, he's not a scrub, So, but really good one. All right, here we go. Who we got?
This is Aaron Paul, right?
No, Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. Okay.
Jake Paul, and then Logan Paul's in the WWE.
Yeah.
So,
Aaron
and he's
Paul's, the Breaking Bad.
Logan Paul is killing it in the WWE. Freaking phenomenal.
He does real fights too, doesn't he?
Not as much as before. The WWE is paying him like crazy. So, but he's the one who fought Mayweather.
Right.
Yeah. And this is Ian Gary. I don't know how much you know about him.
I know that Sean Strickland goes hard on him.
Yeah, he does.
And he fights tomorrow too, right?
Yes, he does. He fights Michael Venom Page.
Dude, that Venom Page, did you see what he did to Cyborg's head? I mean,
yeah, I saw that.
You watch every finish he has is so brutal. He's a savage. And I think this kid's really good too. He's an excellent fighter. I'm so impressed with him. But it's going to be an explosion tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I trip out on seeing what's going to happen.
Yeah, me too. He's got a lot of heat on him, but he's really, really, really good fighter.
So
and people can't take that away from him for sure.
Yep, totally.
All right, here we go. What about this guy?
Oh God, he's hilarious, right?
Detroit Dust.
Yeah, Dust, right? Yeah.
Is
he real? Is he for real?
It reminds me of the Dim Mak touch back in the day when they're like, I forget who the guy was that did it, but he's saying that if he touches you like this, he can paralyze you, or he can. And they do magic where they throw your mind, and you watch guys tumble that are all hypnotized. That's what George Dillman, is that who that was? Maybe the Dim Mak Death touch. Anyway, that's what he reminds me of. But I think that now, I think he started off serious, and now I think he gets his own joke, and now he's just doing that.
Yeah. I think he's come to a realization that, or maybe he was fooling us this whole time. I don't know.
The whole time, and I just didn't get it.
Yeah, me too. So, but that's funny. Detroit Dust.
Yeah.
How about this guy?
Dude, I mean, he's the dude too that you're just like, I'm just amazed. You see him evolve and evolve and evolve, and it's incredible. He's become, I mean, is he a billionaire? It's like, it's insane what he's done.
He's got a Lamborghini yacht, man.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. You think he's gonna win against Chandler if they ever fight?
I don't know that it'll happen, but I think he beat him for sure.
Mm.
It's like his timing is impeccable, and he hasn't been hurt. You know what I mean? He hasn't had his brain clipped
Right.
in a way that we've ever seen. And so I think that his confidence, nobody's ever seen that before.
Yeah.
And the way his timing is incredible. The way he talks about, well, this guy, he overextends with his left hand a lot, and he's going to come in like that. He's going to not find me there. He'll be in a hole, and I'm going to put him away. And then he does exactly that. It's just crazy.
Yeah. He's good, man. I hope he does make one more comeback. I don't think he has to be honest with you, but I would like to see him back in there and go out with a win, you know?
Totally. My brother.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. You know, him and Keith mean the world to me. And to see what's happened and to see where Cowboy's gone with his kids and what he's done, I just get more respect and admiration for him all the time. Yeah, he's incredible. And
yeah, my old instructor, Jonathan Webb, he used to go out to the ranch a lot when he was building his ranch, and Cowboy would come into our gym and spar and stuff. And I met him a couple times, and I went to see him fight in Pittsburgh, and you know, I got to hang around him and stuff. And he's a hell of a guy. He's a hard worker. You know, loves his kids, loves helping other people. He's just badass, man. Like you can't hate the guy. Like you know what I mean? Like you can't. There's no way to hate him.
Yeah, all these guys, man. They you know, the thing is after you go through your ambitions when you're a young man, and you step on some toes and you're running down the fucking, like trying to get after what you're after. But I think that you transcend all that at a certain point. And you start to live by principles, and you want to leave something behind that's helpful to people. And I love being in the stream around guys where it's just like that. And he's just like that.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. Fan favorite too, man.
Yeah.
Fan favorite.
I just looked it up. 55 fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not what was Muay Thai too. I think I met him and he came in and he was like 19-1 or some shit with Muay Thai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Katie is incredible. I first met her on Longmire. She come into my gym to do some fight scenes. And yeah, she's incredible, man. What a woman.
And then you guys got to meet each other back for the Mandalorian. That was crazy.
Totally, dude. That's the thing. It's like
it's a circle, full circle.
The way these lives weave, it's just wild. Some people are supposed to be in your life.
For sure. She's awesome, man. Like I said, great interview you guys did together.
Thank you, man.
How about this guy?
Overrated.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm so proud of you for saying that right
now. He said the reason I'm dead. You know, just like
oh my God, that was great.
I sacrificed myself for this.
Oh, that was great. That was perfect. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, here we go.
The man. Dude, I got to meet him once.
I saw the picture, yeah.
Dude, wicked. What a gentleman. And again, you know, guys like him, like Carl Weathers, it's like these guys that change the face of action films and bring an actual combat experience into the film world. It's like the real tough guys were in the film. Like they're some of the only ones, you know what I mean? It's incredible. He's dope, man. His kid is great, Eric Norris.
Oh, Eric, yeah.
You know, he's a wonderful fucking man and a great stunt man, stunt coordinator. He helps a ton of dudes. Yeah.
Yeah, my instructor's instructor, Joe Lewis, who passed away, the kickboxer, not the boxer, was really good friends with Chuck Norris. They fought each other for the kickboxing championships a couple of times. I even believe they fought for a chance to be in the movie with Bruce Lee, and that's kind of what happened there. So when Joe Lewis passed away, my instructor, you know, I told him that Chuck Norris was going to be at a Comic-Con. So he's like, oh, you think you can get me at the con? I was like, absolutely. He's like, I got something that I've been wanting to give Chuck from Joe's wife when he passed away. So I'm like, oh, no worries. I don't think Chuck's going to have a huge line because it's Comic-Con, you know, whatever. I don't think a lot of people are going to really, you know, I don't want to say care for him or not. And dude, when we got there, wrong answer. That line was out the door, and then he had all the marshals with him too. Like security was hot on him. He flies marshals around with him.
Yeah.
So my instructor is like 5 feet tall, strong little guy. Like he's super like very, very intimidating for like an older guy, right? And it's me, and I'm like, oh shit, like Sensei, like that's a long line. He's like, oh well, you know, I was like, do you want to wait on it? I'll wait with you. No worries, or I'll try to get his attention. I'm like, give me 1 second, right? And then all of a sudden, when I turned, the crowd kind of like parted, and you see Chuck Norris kind of look to the side and look at my instructor, and he gave us the 2 thumbs up, and every single person that was in that line turned to us and starting applauding, and my instructor goes to me like, what the hell was that? I was like, there's only one man that could look and wink at me and give me a thumbs up, and that's Chuck Norris, and that's what he just did to you, bro. I was like, I think he's calling you over. So then the marshals come, and this is how you said, this is how you, the moment that I understood how big of a person my instructor was, you know, in the world, where these marshals came, escorted us to the table. Chuck Norris came out of the table with his wife, hugged them. They were like almost crying, and I'm over here like, holy crap, right? And it was just the coolest thing to see. But Chuck Norris is super humble too, man. Another guy that is just amazing.
Super nice.
Yeah.
Really cool. That's a great story.
Oh, dude, it was great. I think that's all of them. That's all of them, man. That was good though. I like that. That was fun. That was fun for sure. But listen, I know you're tired. I know it's late, dude. Tait, I want to thank you so much, man. This was super enjoyable, man. Like getting, to cross my lives over and talk to you finally and meet you finally, something that I've always wanted to do. I want to thank you for, I know you had a con today and you're always busy and you were just adamant, like, no, let's get it done today. I want to do it today. I was like, all right, cool. So I really appreciate you, man. And if there's anything I could ever do for you, reach out to me. I'm always willing to, help out whoever I can. And just, man, we'll love to have you back here in the future. And, anything else, man, that, why don't you let everybody know where they could find you? I know you're big on Instagram too.
Yeah. I mean, this has been real nourishing for me too. I really appreciate all you guys.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah.
Apologize for being late.
No.
Yeah.
I barely noticed it.
This is my name, Tait Fletcher. And I'll send you my number too, man. And if I can be a help, like with any brain modality stuff or whatever you want to talk offline ever, please just grab it and we can go from there too, man.
Right, man.
Yeah, if I can be helpful somehow, let me know. That's
cool, man.
Yeah.
But dude, thank you so much for being on. Let me go around the table real quick, just so everybody, and I have all his links, Tait's links in the bio of the video too, for you guys to go follow him, whether you're watching live or watching on the replay. But this was really good for me, man. I really appreciate you being on. But Kennedy, thank you, man, for being on, man. You got anything going on? You're on mute, bud. Put the thing down. There we go.
Nothing really. Quiet weekend finally. First time in like a month and a half.
Yeah.
I have a weekend to myself, so I'm gonna try to enjoy it as much as I can.
Nice, man. But thank you for being on, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it. Joey,
What's up?
thank you for being on, bro.
Of course. Glad that we actually got to meet in person the other day. That was really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And thank you, Tait, for being here and giving us these awesome stories. Really appreciate you.
Thanks.
Yeah, super cool, man.
Yeah. And New York meetup. We're going to be meeting up in New York. So that's the only thing.
Big New York Comic-Con meetup, guys. We have that on our Facebook group, and it's literally pinned on my page too. We got a lot of different YouTubers going out there, to meet, to do the meet and greet. So you get to see all the people you see online. So we're definitely gonna do that. Andrew, thank you for being on, bro.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I'm a massive Star Wars fan, but to meet a truly inspirational person behind the helmet from a series that I love, like it just makes it all the more better. So thank you, Tait, for being on the show. I really appreciate everything you shared with us. It really meant a lot. As far as like what I got going on, you check out, we got a new episode on the channel Retroactive POD here on YouTube, talking about new movies, things like that. But I will actually be releasing a kind of a specialty episode titled "The Acolyte and the Toxic Fandom." So be sure to keep an eye out for that. I have a lot of opinions about the way people have been treating Star Wars and fans in general recently, regardless of your opinions on a TV show. So keep an eye out for that. But other than that, I just wanted to say, Tait, I missed you in Jacksonville. I was up there. I didn't get a chance to meet you, unfortunately. Hopefully, the next time you're at a Florida con, I'll be able to come say hi. So,
thank you.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be awesome. And another thing, guys, congratulations to Andrew on 10K streams on his single. So appreciate you with that. Yeah, 10K streams, man, on his single.
Human, man. Come on.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. You know, it's it took a little while. I mean, not really that long. I think we hit it in about maybe 9 months, and my first single's been up for like 4 years, and it only has like half as many plays. So I will take every win I can get. Every little milestone that I cross means the absolute world to me. So thank you guys for your support.
That's awesome. Yeah, keep it up, dude. 10K streams. That's crazy. That's crazy. Aaron, thank you so much, bro, for being on. I know your pops is a huge fan of Tait as well.
I was just gonna say that. You took the words out my mouth.
Go ahead. The floor is yours, my friend. Go ahead.
It was a pleasure to meet you, Tait. Like Miguel said, me and my pops are big fans of Paz Vizsla, and thank you for bringing him to life. And I miss him, man. He went out like a boss, though. Thank you.
Thanks,
bro.
Aaron's our young buck of the crew, so he's learning from the best.
Stick around.
Yeah, for sure. Sean Carlson, you know what I'm gonna say, right? You know what your next artwork has to be, right?
Give me 3 guesses.
We knocked it out during the stream. It's already done. Yeah.
There's I've been going through a tear of a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff that's in the works, Mandalorian stuff in particular. So you can bet that'll be coming down the line.
Nice.
For sure. Yeah, Tait, thank you so much for being on, man. It's been, it's always great when you see people on the screen, TV, movie, and then you get to meet them, and they're not only as cool as you'd hope they'd be, they're even better. For sharing your story with us and everything, man. This has been a great episode getting to know you, and really appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks, brother. Nice to put a face to it.
For sure.
Thanks, bud.
Harry Smith, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you, brother, for being on.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, seriously, man. I mean, it's like, I didn't hesitate. I mean, hesitate.
I see what you did there.
I didn't see what I did there until I done it. When he asked me to be on this show and told me that Tait was going to be his guest, I didn't even hesitate. I jumped right on it, and it was like an immediate yes. I mean, normally I make Miguel wait.
He does
like an hour or so, and then I'll reply. It's just like the dating game, when you're just like you don't call the same day that you got the number.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's like that, only more intimate. But the thing of it is that I don't strictly speaking make an active decision to follow an actor's career, but you popped up suddenly, and in Paul Sun-Hyun Lee's live stream a few months ago. Has it been a year?
Yeah,
do you remember that?
Back, yeah.
It was like, I think it was like right after Paz was killed, if I'm not
mistaken. He was doing boxing, and somebody hit me up and said, "Hey, it would mean a lot if you just jumped."
That's
on.
it.
And I didn't know really what it all was, and then I see it's my friend, and I was like, because they're like, rotten Asian.
Bitter Asian dude,
or whatever.
Bitter Asian dude, yeah.
What is this? And then I thought it was Paul. I was like, oh, dope, because what a special guy he is, right?
He's so good. He's so good. Yeah, and I love him to pieces. I hope I actually get to meet him in person one day, but who knows when that's going to happen. But the point that I was going to make is I first saw you and heard you talking to him on that stream, and that was the first time that I was just like, okay, there's something special about this guy, this faceless man behind the mask of Paz Vizsla, and you don't really know anything about any actor in any role that they're playing if they're doing their job right, and clearly you are, because your personality does not come off in any way as the same as Paz Vizsla's. But then I saw more recently the podcast with Katie Sackhoff, and I was like, yeah, this is a guy that I really want to talk to, and I'm going to be paying more attention to you. I'm going to be following you a lot more closely now.
For sure.
Yeah, for what that
Got
is.
any tips? Let me know. I need all the help.
I can show you how to pose an action figure. In fact, stick around after he shuts down the show because I'm going to show you something then.
Yeah, don't go away, Tate. We got a little surprise for you after I end the show, so just hold on. But as far as Toy Quest 101 goes, guys, we don't have a Friday show next week because I'll be heading to Orlando to referee ADCC before Worlds. That's happening in August, which I'm excited about. And we have a couple reviews going on. I know I got the Iron Studios Back to the Future full DeLorean and character set that we're going to be reviewing. And we got the Sideshow Deathstroke that's going to air on Sunday from Dennis and Toy Quest 101 Unboxed. But other than that, guys, man, I appreciate everybody who was on. I appreciate everybody who's going to check out the replay. And again, Tate, it was really special having you on. And I hope to meet you. I'm sure I'm going to run into you. I already, I'm hoping. And like I said, stick around and we'll see everybody on another episode of Collectors Assemble Live the following Friday. See you guys.
Later, fellas.